Folks, I'm Steve Vai. I'm a guitar player. I'm actually from Long Island, New York, and I've been living in California for 40 years. And I travel the world and play the guitar for other guitar players or anybody who wants to come. And I live a charmed life.
So what do you remember about growing up on Long Island? Growing up, did it help you become the guitar player you are now, or is that just something that over time, that you developed your skill, your ability when you left Long Island?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say, obviously, how much growing up in a particular part of the world has to do with what you end up doing. Sure, it has a lot to do. Being an American and being born in New York I felt probably a great advantage when it comes time to connecting the dots professionally as a guitar player. But for me, I have what I call the Vai advantage. I was born on Long Island in a town called Carr Place. And in that town, I went to school, and I had this incredible music teacher in high school named Bill Westcott, who was, I can't even imagine how I could have gotten that kind of education anyplace because of the classes I was taking since 7th grade, so that was a real plus. But the biggest plus for me is I grew up in the same town as Joe Satriani, and he was my guitar teacher when I was from the age of 12 to 15. So for me, growing up on Long Island had incomparable advantages. Thank you.
We are at the Vai Academy 5 at the Glen Cove Mansion. So this is kind of a homecoming for you. You've done this all over the world, and you decided to bring it back to Long Island. What made you bring it back home?
Well, the camps have been fantastic because we have done them all over the country, But I love coming back to Long Island. I mean, I'm kind of a nostalgic idiot, so I love being in this town, in this area. The opportunity to come here and do this on Long Island was perfect because of this venue, the mansion in Glen Cove. So my friend Joe had done one here, and I just thought, I want to come here, I want to do it. And the organizers set it up, and it's fantastic. I'm so happy to be here on Long Island doing the camp. You basically redefined the way the guitar is played. You have a very unique style, and for a long time, guitar players were mostly sidemen in the band to the singer. You took the guitar and actually made the guitar a voice, and through your instrumental music, through the melodies, you don't need a singer with the style of music you play. Is that a conscious decision to create instrumental music and say, I'm going to be the voice of these songs? Well, I love singing, and if I had a great voice, I could have been a pop star maybe, I don't know, but I've always just been drawn to melody. I'm a composer, and the guitar is just the most expressive instrument. It bends with you, it screams with you, it cries with you. It just is it's a very visceral instrument. It's extraordinarily dynamic, and it just spoke to me as a melody instrument more effectively than my voice, So I just always was drawn to the guitar. Doing instrumental guitar records was not necessarily very popular 40 years ago. It took the advent of some great pioneers to do it. And then it became more accepted, so to speak. But nothing is accepted unless it has some quality of inspiration in it that resonates with people. So I've been fortunate enough that my guitar playing and my melodies and music have reached a particular audience that finds value in them. So I get to travel around the world my whole life and just play music. It's fantastic.
So going back, 18 years old, you're playing for Frank Zappa. How does Frank Zappa find an 18-year-old Steve Vai?
Well, I was 18 when I first spoke to him on the phone.
Okay.
And I sent him some tapes and stuff. And he wanted to hire me, but when I told him I was 18, he felt I was too young. So he actually hired me to transcribe music, because I had good ears. Transcribing is when you listen, you write it down in manuscript form. So I was doing that for a few years, and then I moved to California the day after my 20th birthday, and just started going up to the house, you know, to Frank's house. And next thing you know, you're at rehearsals, then you're in a photo shoot, and then you're getting on a plane, and, you know, it kind of organically evolved. I was able to, the way that I got into Frank's band was that I was able to fulfill a particular function that he found useful in his music. That's really it.
So you're pretty persistent.
Not really. I did not.
You go back to the house.
Well, I didn't ever expect to be in the band.
Right.
I mean, that was an extraordinary thought.
It just fell into your lap.
No, I didn't go out saying I'm going to hunt down Frank Zappa to get in his band. I actually never did that. He came to me, and when he said, you know, I want to try out for the band, I was like, what? You know, it was just a shock. I had to think about it.
After the Vai Academy, what is next for Steve Vai? I know you're going back on the road for the Janet Axe tour over in Europe. So that is the next thing. Is there any new music that you have that possibly is coming out? Or
Yeah, I have. I'm in the studio constantly trying to chip away at a new record. And I have these beautiful distractions, like this camp. And in 2020, I'm going to be recording about 4 hours of my orchestra music in Europe. And that's a pretty big project, so I'm chipping away at that. But yeah, you know, if it's not one thing, it's 6 others. Thanks.